Okie doke. So 12C, let's do this together. Most of it is going to be the same as what we just worked on yesterday, or review problems. Okay, so if we look at number one is actually a review problem from what we've worked on in the past, because notice there's not variables on both sides. There's just a variable on the left. So what are we going to do first? Somebody tell me, are we going to get rid of the 2, the 5, or the -3?
-3.
Perfect. Good. Good, both of you guys. That -3. So to undo the -3, we add 3. Now we're left with 2x over 5 equals, and 7 plus 3 makes 10. At this point, you have 2 options, and this is where some of you guys get a little bit confused. Either option is fine. One option is to use that reciprocal. The other option is to go nice and slow. And we could multiply by 5. Let me show you with the reciprocal so that people are nice and clear with that. So the reciprocal of 2/5, remember, is 5 over 2. So we multiply by 5 over 2. If I do that to the left, I must do that to the right. By multiplying by the reciprocal on the left-hand side, it cancels everything, right? It cancels the 5, cancels the 2. We're just left with x. And on the right-hand side, to make this a little easier, I'm going to put that 10 over 1. And we just multiply across. So 10 times 5 is 50. 1 times 2 is 2. And then we always check to see if I can reduce our fractions. Can I do 50 divided by 2? Absolutely. It makes 25. Okay, so again, that was an old one. We don't have any combining of the like terms on each side. We don't have variables on both sides. We're just isolating that variable and using the reciprocal to help us get rid of the fraction. Okay, let's do number 2. Can I combine any like terms? So we take a look. On the left-hand side, can I put anything together?
No.
Nope. Good, guys. Thank you for participating and good work. And on the right side, nothing.
No.
Good. So we start moving from side to side. Your choice, but you know me. I like to move the variable to the left. So I'm going to subtract 7m. 5m minus 7m is negative 2m. I still have the minus 2. And on the right, I have negative 4. Don't drop those negatives. And now we get the variable alone. So I'm going to add 2. So negative 2m equals negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. Divide by negative 2 gives me m equals 1. Any questions with that one? So still pretty basic, but we have variables on both sides, so we have a little bit more rearranging from side to side. All right. Number 3, first step. What's number 3's first step going to be?
Distribute.
The parentheses.
Great, distribute with those parentheses, exactly. So that left-hand side, nothing, we're not going to touch it, leave it as is. But the right-hand side, we distribute. So 2 times negative 9x makes negative 18x. Again, those negatives are really important to not drop. And then 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. And now this problem will be very similar to the last problem we did. There's no like terms on each side, so we just go ahead and move that variable. I'm going to move that negative 18x. So to move negative 18, we add 18x. This gives me negative 12 plus 18 is 6x. Try to do that on your own. Otherwise, use that calculator to make sure that you are not making errors with negatives. Plus 1 equals 18x's cancel. I'm left with negative 2. Now what do I move? 6, 1, or negative 2?
Negative 2. I mean 1.
1, good. We want to get this x alone, right? So we're going to subtract 1. I'm left with 6x still, but at least that's less stuff on that side. Negative 2 minus 1, we're getting even more negative, so negative 3. Now we will divide by 6. And please make sure to pay attention here. This is a fraction. It'll be negative, and it's saying negative 3/6, but can I reduce that? I can, right? Divide both by 3 gives me negative 1/2. Okay. Any questions so far with the first 3? All right, we're going to do one more together, number 4, and then I'm going to have you guys go practice some of these, and we'll check, I'll let you guys go practice for a bit, and then we'll come back to check our answers. So let's do number 4 right now. What am I going to do first?
Multiply both sides by 3.
Okay, that is one step you can do. So did everyone hear that? He said multiply everything by 3. You can do that. If you do that, though, there's something special that you need to do. You need to make sure every single thing gets multiplied by 3. That just clears the fraction. It doesn't isolate the variable, though. So what I'm going to recommend instead is not get rid of this 3, but get rid of the 3 I'm putting the arrow to. Because I'm trying to get, I'm just going to use a different color. I'm trying to get this x alone. So I want to get rid of the stuff that's furthest away from it. Does that make sense? If you multiplied by 3, the common mistake there, and I think, Moses, you do this correctly, though, so that's fine to do that. But some people don't then give this first 3 the 3. So that's why I'm avoiding that. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the 3 where I have the arrow, which means it's a positive 3. I'm going to subtract 3 to both sides. That cancels, and I'm left with negative 2/3 x equals 11 minus 3 is 8. Now, what's the fancy word we can use to solve this? By the reciprocal, right? Or step by step, multiply by 3 and then get rid of the 2. But the reciprocal of negative 2/3 is negative 3/2. So I do that to the left, which means I do that as well to the left. I'm going to make that 8/1. The left, the 2's and 3's cancel. I'm left with x. And on the right, we just multiply across. 8 times 3 is 24. And 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. And now we can reduce that. 24 divided by negative 2 makes negative 12. Does anyone have any questions with those? Does anyone need more time seeing the screen of those 4? You need to go back to the top to it all. Okay, so I'm just going to take a quick peek here to make sure that there is nothing else new. Nope, they just get a little bit more elaborate. So here's what I'm going to ask you guys to do now, is I'm going to ask you to continue to work on the rest of this assignment, okay? You're not going anywhere. You're not disappearing. You're going to work on this assignment. If you have questions as you go, you ask, and I answer them. If you're feeling good, you just keep on going. And in about 20 minutes, we're going to come back together and we're going to check in on your answers and put up some of them together. Does that make sense? Okay, so go ahead and continue to work on those problems, and then we'll come back together.